city engineer, Simon. Stop those are. They're okay.
Austin got me stocking.
Yeah.
It was so hot though.
Yeah. And sort of perfect.
Last year, you opened your meeting and I opened my meeting.
That's right.
Now it's all sweaty and stuff.
So then
I'll get you a ball. How do you come to a council meeting? Make you drop off.
How many years have you been here?
Yeah.
This
This would have been a great opportunity.
Well, there's,
They
so,
actually came with a whole
Or you
box.
all up?
no, so that side's out further north.
Okay.
And then Rob was appointed, so he only has one burger, he's got to run it. So it's only me, or like, only one month there.
So, how many years do you have on? I told Mrs. I signed on to do it again this year. 2 more years.
Well,
2 years, somebody else has to take credit.
That's right. Well, she can be her, she can be Austin.
I was president of that, and 90 hours ago to be nomads. Somewhere.
They're gonna be in the way here.
There's someone in this seat that I don't really I'll get a little bit.
all right.
There's a couple more seats available for you too.
I'm good right here.
I think we should get rolling here. Okay, so tonight we have the joint city and school open meeting training, which is mandatory by South Dakota law to do this once a year, so thanks for being here. So we have school board representatives and planning and zoning, city council, park board, library board. I think that's it, maybe. Park board. So thanks for being here. So since we have 2 kind of city elected officials and school, Scott, President of the School Board, also open on the school side of it. So I call this meeting to order for the city officials.
Do we need to take a motion on the, or do we need to take a motion to open the meeting up, or are we just good to?
I think, call the meeting to order for both of you.
Okay.
And then, I think as a group, we can take motions to approve the agenda.
Yep, okay, got it. Yep. So, I'll call the meeting to order for the school board that are here. And I'll entertain a motion, you have an agenda in front of you, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda and open the meeting.
Motion to approve.
First.
Second.
Have a second, all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Alright, we're gonna open the meeting.
Oh, that was for both, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, sounds good. All right, visitors to be heard this evening, please come forward to the podium. 2 minutes of fame.
No way.
All right, seeing that there's none, we'll move on to new business 3.1, the annual open meeting training. So, Nate, take it away.
All right, thank you. You have a presentation in front of you. This really hasn't changed at all from last year. We went through it. I think the open meeting pamphlet from the State Attorney General's office is in there as well, so you can reference that. But last year was the first time we held this meeting. It's a new requirement under state code that public bodies review open meeting laws once a year. We've extended that on abundance of caution to advisory committees like the park board, library board, so on and so forth as well. So if you have questions at any point, ask them. I can't guarantee that I'll have the answer, but we will find the answer. So to start off, why is it important? Other than the fact that state law requires it. Democracy obviously has its foundations in citizen involvement. The public, ancient Greece was kind of the birthplace of democracy, including the word, Greek for people is demos, and rule, kratos, democracy. That included mandatory involvement of all adults in the democratic process in ancient Greece. People are not just expected to hear policy discussions and debate, but to actually participate in it. Rome followed in those same footsteps. More closely resembled the democratic republic we have today. It had a senate and common body that debated the needs of the population. But public participation was included there too. It was so important to the Romans that the Roman Forum was constructed, and gladiators ended up using it too, which is kind of cool. not really a part of the democratic process. You carry that on to our foundations here in America. It was a part of our democratic process throughout history. When we were separating from the crown, that didn't have any obligation to the public and to our people. We created the Continental Congress, and those meetings were known. The public was allowed to observe and be there. It was so important to the founders that Thomas Jefferson included language on it in the Declaration of Independence. There are 2 sections that speak specifically about government deriving their powers from the consent of the governed, and there were grievances though. So the Declaration of Independence lists out a number of grievances against the English crown. And one of those was that they had called together legislative bodies at places that were unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the people. So there was a clear intent to involve people in public participation in the democratic process all the way from the start. Last but not least, it's important because if you violate SDCL 1-25, it's a crime. It's an actual crime that you can go to jail for and be fined for. If you're not interested in anything else, at least be interested in the part that can end you up in handcuffs and in casa de minihani country. So first of all, let's go over what is and is not a public meeting. What's not a public meeting is attending another entity's meetings when that meeting is publicly noticed, or properly noticed. So for the school board tonight, for example, those who are in attendance here, I think we did post the agenda at the school, but would not necessarily have to because we hadn't posted it here and we had gone through the procedures to post it publicly as according to state law. Attending a press conference or providing information or a briefing, something like that is not what's considered a public meeting under the law. That being said, as a best practice, if you have a quorum present, or you think you're going to have a quorum present, just post the notice. We do that with our holiday party even. If we have an inkling that at least 3 council members are going to show up, we just post that there's a potential quorum. My concern is always that somebody from the public is going to show up at our Christmas party at my house or something. But that's not what that's intended for. You can turn them away. It's a private event where you all just have to be attending as long as you're not discussing any public business. A public meeting is any official meeting at which a political subdivision, which would be including all of us, intends to conduct business and at which quorum is present. So a quorum, of course, is any number of your elected or governing body that can make a decision. So if 2 of you are going to meet after this and discuss an issue that was on the last agenda, that is not a quorum, that's not a meeting. If 4 of you do, in our case city council, if 4 of you were to meet and discuss something, it would be a meeting. So if we're all in the same room, for example, half an hour later, and you all want to talk about something that was on the agenda, we can't do that. One of you would have to leave, or we'd have to get that on the next agenda. Just remember, that does include electronic communication among members as well. So if you're having a text message string with those that would be considered a quorum, or an email string, conference call, Teams call, whatever it might be, those all count as public meetings as well. Again, just because the law doesn't require you to provide public notice, doesn't mean you should. Always best practice is to provide notice, just to be safe and make sure the public is aware. It's not as common now, and maybe, back in 2020, in the heyday of COVID, we were all doing, to some extent, remote meetings and teleconferences. So whether it's Zoom, Teams, phone, whatever, again, those are all considered a public meeting. And if you do that, you have to provide at least one way for the public to participate. I don't know if the school still does this, but theirs were always, they're always available by telephone. So somebody could call into a conference line and listen in on a school board meeting, for example. We don't tend to do that here. We may have a couple of council members that call in from time to time to be on the meeting. But we don't hold strictly teleconference meetings. Let's see here. It is, again, fine to discuss items outside the meeting. It's not unusual for members to speak to each other outside the meeting about topics that are city business, as long as you're not making that decision and you don't have a quorum present. You can't take even an informal vote. You can, one-on-one, just see where everybody is sitting on an issue. But you can't take an informal vote and have that decision made before the council meeting or before the school board meeting. Staff-wise, because we do have staff that handle other boards like Audra and Christie, it's fine to send information to the full group, which would include a forum, but include a message that lead it with a warning that the group should not respond, and that doing so would constitute a public meeting that needs to be disclosed. I send a weekly briefing out every week. There are items that may come up in the middle of the week where I send a message out just to make sure everybody's aware of something. That's just sharing information, that's not a meeting. But if the group were to start to respond to that message specifically, then it becomes a meeting. Next, we have required public notice, so we're required to post a physical copy at a location visible to the general public with at least 24 hours notice. There are some caveats to that. If you have an emergency meeting and it's just not practical, post it as soon as you possibly can. If you have a website, you have to post it on the website with at least 24 hours notice. We post ours on our, not on our city website, but on an external website that manages our meetings and agenda packets. And that's typically 4 or 5 days in advance. Special meetings also require special notice to the official newspaper of the political subdivision. So I think both was it's the Lennox Independent. So if we have a special meeting, we follow that up with, once the meeting is scheduled, we follow that up with a specific email or phone call to the Lennox Independent, just letting you know that we have a special meeting on this date. In general, try not to change the agenda, limit changes to the agenda. If it's something substantial, and that can't be avoided, I mean, it is what it is. But if you're changing the agenda significantly after it's been posted, that could be challenged at some point as well. Public comment, as far as public comment is concerned, the law requires it at almost every public meeting. You don't need to do so at meetings that are strictly executive session. So if we were to meet tonight and the only thing on the agenda is executive session, and we immediately go into exec and out of exec and that's it, no action, then you do not need to have public comment. We generally allow it at every meeting, just to make it available. There's no real harm to that. And you can place some reasonable restrictions on how long a person gets to speak. We generally keep it to 2 minutes, but I don't know that we've really exercised that much. I don't know if you remember any times. I can think of one time maybe in 7 years that we've exercised it. What's that?
Maybe should.
Maybe should have. It's really at the discretion of the presiding officer. We've got our policies listed up here for folks that come off 2 minutes is what you get, but it's pretty rare that we actually enforce that. Executive session. This can be a tricky one, and it's easy to veer off the road on executive session. If you go through reports of the Public Meeting Commission and the findings that they've had, the vast majority of mistakes are made in executive session in house play. It's not uncommon for members of a governing body to stray from the purpose once they're in executive session with side conversations, so on and so forth. But there are only so many reasons you can go into executive session. Those are all listed under SDCL 1-25-2. So some of those reasons are given in the PowerPoint. I won't go through all of those. And we'll note, when you talk about qualifications, competence, performance, and character or fitness of any public officer or prospective public officer, it's not an opportunity just to gossip. That's not what that's there for. It's an opportunity to interview people, talk about specific concerns you may have with their employment or potential employment, and so on and so forth. We can exclude the public from discussion for the following 6 reasons: consulting with legal counsel or reviewing communications from legal counsel. And just make sure that you're clear on that. It's not just because you want to talk about something that might turn into something illegal, or you want to talk about something that you think might be illegal. If you're not consulting with legal counsel or reviewing communications from legal counsel, that's not an appropriate use of executive session. Preparing for contract negotiations or negotiating with employees or representatives, discussing marketing or pricing strategies. So if we wanted to talk in executive session about concession prices, we could do that. I don't really see a point, but it would be allowed under state code. Discussing information pertaining to protecting the public or private property or any person within public or private property, specific to a number of issues. Most of that has to do with security. So if the school district wanted to talk about lockdown procedures, for example, or red drills or active shooter drills, they can do that and figure out that plan in executive session without disclosing to the public. Disaster recovery plans, protocols, things like that. If we were to talk through at city council what our disaster recovery plan is for the wastewater treatment plant, should something happen there, that would be an acceptable use as well. A couple more notes on executive session. First, again, I talked about this. It's not a gossip session, and I know there are ample examples of where it has been a gossip session on the state meetings commission. That this happens all the time. Sometimes it's called out, most of the time it isn't. But if it's happening, you need to call it out. It's specific problems and specific approaches to solve those problems. Second, it's not there for discussion of topics that are uncomfortable or unpopular. It's certainly tempting to do that, but the public has a right to know about even the things that are unpopular or unpopular. Last, and do not ever take a vote in executive session. All action has to be taken in open session. Touched on some of the meeting materials and packets already. Materials related to an agenda item and distributed to the members of the governing body have to be available to the public, again, within that 24-hour period. And they need to be available to the public at the meeting. So if you're not posting, we usually have at least one packet, full packet on the back if we need to. If somebody requests it, we will make it available. But typically it's available on our agenda site long ahead of time. So by posting it on our agenda management system, that meets the requirements of the law. But in general, the public needs to have access to the same information you have when you're making your deliberations and discussions and decisions. Talk about the Open Meetings Commission here. After 4 years of no activity at the Open Meetings Commission, Attorney General Jackley, when he was sworn back in, made this a priority again. The commission's met twice in 2024, twice in 2025, and I believe twice so far in 26. I anticipate that it's going to continue regardless of whether he continues in that role. I mean, this is something that I think the public has taken notice of in the last several years, and rightly so. But the commission has established to hear complaints of possible violations of the open meetings laws. And it contains a long list of findings. I would encourage everybody to take a look at that list sometime. Some of them you're going to look at it and say, what were you guys thinking? Some of it you're going to look at and say, ooh, that's a really good point, I hadn't thought of that. But it is a really interesting compilation of violations, and in some cases, non-violations. They will find some that are not violations. They may look like it on the surface, but in discussion and analysis end up not being so. So I do have included in here some scenarios, and these are real examples of cases that have come to the Open Meetings Commission. Extra points for those of you who remember the findings of the Open Meetings Commission from last year's training. So the first one is Roberts County. The local paper had filed a complaint with State's Attorney's Office. The county commissioners were invited to Dakota Sioux Casino. They thought they were touring the casino, so they didn't post an agenda. And tribal leadership asked the commissioners at that meeting to discuss endorsing the tribal government's commission or tribal government's proposal to increase casino operations. What do you think? Finding or not finding of violation? Yes? 100%. Yep. The Open Meeting Commission issued a reprimand in that case. And I don't know of any actual arrests that have happened, but know that it can happen. Usually it's a finding and they get a reprimand. And it's pretty embarrassing.
So what's the reprimand?
Pardon?
What's the reprimand? Just fine or?
It could be a fine, it could be a, why did you do that, don't do it again.
Is it an individual fine or a fine to the entity?
It could be both. Yeah. If it's going to be prosecuted, I believe the Attorney General's office is going to do it through the local state's attorney's office. That's what we do the prosecution.
Just a public shaming.
A very public shaming. Yes. I guarantee it's going to be not only on Facebook, but also many papers.
Any loss of positions?
No, because that's all up to the local governing body. In the city of Tripp, This was a complaint filed with the Hutchinson County State's Attorney's Office by a former employee. The complaint alleged several violations involving the city council, including failure to post agendas, failure to keep proper minutes, and failure to make minutes publicly available. City failed to post agendas for several meetings and held an executive session for a personnel matter and made an official decision while still in the executive session. Yep. Public recommend if you don't have this one. One last one, we'll go back to the city of Watertown on this one. Watertown Public Opinion, who apparently love to file these, filed a complaint with the county state's attorney's office. The complaint filed said that the finance committee conducted a meeting without providing any notice to public or posting any agenda. Oral presentations were heard at that meeting in November of 2007, excuse me. What do you think?
Yeah.
Violation?
Yes.
Oh, it's a committee.
It's a
though,
committee.
So.
It's a committee.
No,
It's
Oh.
It's a
No, it's a
committee.
quorum.
Correct. It's a task forces or committees which don't have a quorum or are merely fact finders or information gatherers.
Nice guy.
Do not, yeah, trick question. But
Plus there's.
what's the best practice?
To post.
Well,
Just post it in the agenda. It's not that big of a deal. It's involved the public, right? That's all I've got tonight, folks. Obviously open for questions. I think overall, everybody knows what we're supposed to be doing here and you know what. The fact that we're all aware of it and we've got pretty good representation here from all the groups involved, I think speaks well to how important we see this as part of our role as public officials.
Any questions? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. School board, we need to do that.
Yeah, let's entertain a motion to adjourn. And the first? Second. Second?
Okay.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. We're adjourned. Let's go.
The city, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we're adjourned.
They don't give me one of those.